Good day, Baseball Card Collecting Nation. This is Chris from Big 3 PC, and today's Mailday video features one of the kings of the steroid era, Mark McGwire. For reasons we will discuss, McGwire is not really somebody that I PC, but this card here is an iconic one in the hobby and certainly worthy of a spot on any baseball card collector's mantelpiece. As always, you can reach me on YouTube, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, and you can always reach me by email. Okay, so let's start with a quick review of the career statistics that this man put up. His career statistics that really jump off the screen are, of course, the home runs with 583, the OPS of 982, and the OPS plus of 163. He has the 11th most career home runs, the 10th best career OPS, just behind Mike Trout and Manny Ramirez, and the 11th best OPS plus, just behind Ty Cobb. So he's obviously in some pretty elite company when it comes to slugging numbers all time. Now, the hit total is kind of weak, with just over 1,600 hits throughout his fairly long career, and the career WAR is just below the typical Hall of Fame threshold of around 65 to 70. But this guy clearly ranks among the best sluggers in baseball history statistically. Of course, there's a big caveat to all this, and that is the whole steroid issue, which we will speak to a little bit more later on. Getting into his career, in terms of a rookie season, Mark McGwire was the original Aaron Judge or Pete Alonso during his first season in 1987. The gigantic 6'5" masher hit a then rookie record 49 homers, put up an OPS of 987, and won Rookie of the Year while finishing 6th in MVP voting. To say that he exploded onto the scene is an understatement. In just his third season, McGwire would win his only World Series as a player in 1989 with Oakland. Now, despite the epic rookie season and, of course, the World Series victory early on in his career, McGwire was basically just a solid player who'd give you 30 bombs a year, but really didn't do much else from 1988 to 1991. He did have a spectacular 1992 season, but then he looked like he might be finished as an all-star player during a very injury-plagued 1993 and 1994 season. During those first 8 years of his career, spanning 87 through 94, he only had 2 full seasons with an OPS of over 900, and he didn't have a single season with an OPS over 1,000. So for a slugger who didn't bring any defensive or speed value to his game, having only 2 OPS seasons over 900 out of 8 is not really that impressive. So yeah, I mean, he was a fairly prolific home run hitter at the time, but heading into the 1995 season, he looked to be a breaking down, large-bodied, 31-year-old dude who was just nowhere near being a Hall of Fame caliber player. Then, as we all know, something changed. Beginning with that age 31 season in 1995, he began a stretch of 6 Hall of Fame-worthy seasons with an OPS of nearly 1,100 averaged over those 6 years. That includes a 4-year stretch from 96 to 99, where he hit 50-plus home runs in 4 consecutive seasons. His penultimate season, of course, was the legendary 1998 season when he and Sammy Sosa chased down Roger Maris, and McGwire finished with a then record 70 home runs and an OPS of 1222. Now, obviously, that type of an explosion at age 31, sustained for 6 seasons, certainly defies the typical career path where production slows as the body wears down, especially in big-bodied players like McGwire. Like so many of our favorite steroid-era heroes, McGwire actually got significantly better in his early to mid-30s. His surge in production at such an advanced athletic age was clearly an anomaly that could not go unquestioned. Despite years of denials, in 2010, McGwire actually admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs throughout his career to help recover from injuries. Because of this, his Hall of Fame status is highly questionable. It's pretty hard to imagine him getting anywhere close to the historic career slugging numbers that he put up without steroids, especially given how his numbers looked after 8 full seasons in the major leagues. It's hard to even picture him being a star player during the back half of his career, given how 1993 and 1994 looked, when, as mentioned, he was just a large-bodied, solid slugger who really looked like he was breaking down heading into his 30s. Unlike his steroid-era counterparts, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, whose career numbers were just so insanely gaudy that keeping them out of the Hall of Fame seems impossible, McGwire's only Hall of Fame-worthy numbers are probably nowhere near Hall of Fame-worthy without the steroids. So why did I buy this guy's card? Why does anybody buy this guy's cards? He's an admitted cheater. and though he did admit to it, he first lied about it for decades. His career numbers without PEDs likely put him nowhere near the Hall of Fame conversation. Why bother collecting Mark McGwire? For me, personally, it's pretty simple. If you lived and breathed baseball in the 1990s, you know what this guy meant to the game. Him and Sosa brought baseball all the way back from the dead following the 1994 strike. Watching McGwire bear hug Sammy Sosa is a lasting memory for so many of us, and the way they handled that 1998 home run record chase with respect and humility and just pure unadulterated joy was a sight to behold. Yes, the epic 1998 season was drug-fueled, but it was just what baseball needed, and really, what harm was done? Neither he nor Sosa won a World Series during this time. Roger Maris truthers, well, they still know who the true single-season home run champ is. It's Roger Maris. Regardless of what side you sit on when it comes to the steroid era, the 1998 season remains a massively important part of baseball history, and for that reason alone, collecting McGwire's best rookie card is something I just had to do. So, let's talk about the card that we came here to discuss. This is 1985 Topps, and it's actually his 1984 USA baseball team picture. This is his rookie card. This is a very iconic baseball card with historical significance. It was one of the most expensive cards in baseball history in the early 2000s, shortly after he just decimated the late 90s. Prices have softened significantly, of course, since all of the PED drama, but this remains the Mark McGwire rookie card to own, and it is also super rare in gem mint form, which adds to its allure. How rare? Glad you asked. When we're talking about the Topps version, 45,000 of these cards have been submitted to PSA for grading, and only 300 of those have graded as PSA 10s. That's an incredibly low 0.67% gem mint rate, one so low that it compares to the standard bearer for junk and modern era cards, which of course would be the Derek Jeter 1993 SP foil. The Derek Jeter SP foil has a gem mint rate of something ludicrous like only 0.22%, so it was even a tougher gem mint rate. And of course, Derek Jeter is a much more loved and much more accomplished player than Mark McGwire. But the point is a gem mint rate of under 1% is pretty incredible, and that's what this card offers. When you consider the fact that it's not uncommon for modern day cards to have a 60 to 80% gem mint rate, you really have to have an appreciation for cards like this, at least in my opinion. Now, McGwire obviously was a controversial cat, and not likely to be a Hall of Famer probably ever, with or without the steroids. But rarity like this in gem mint form, combined with the historical significance of this player, makes this a tremendously important baseball card even now in 2020. For those of you out there with a much bigger bankroll than me, or perhaps a deeper love for Big Mac, there's also a Topps Tiffany version. The straight up Topps version that I bought that you see here in gem mint form costs somewhere between $1,000 and $1,100. If you want to go find that Tiffany version, which is super rare because they only printed 5,000 Topps Tiffany sets in 1985, that's going to set you back just over $4,500. The biggest reason for that bump is because this card is even more scarce in gem mint form, as you'll find only 35 total PSA 10 Topps Tiffany 1985 Mark McGwire rookie cards. For that degree of scarcity, you better believe you're going to be spending a lot of money. Now, there are other options for more budget-conscious individuals who would like to have a really important early Mark McGwire card. For example, the Topps Tiffany card in PSA 9 graded form has only 559 copies, still super rare, and that sells for about $325. If that's still too much, you've got the card on the top left, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first, we'll get into where am I going next. This is how I like to conclude all of my Mailday videos, with a quick conversation of what will I be collecting next for the player that we've discussed. Typically, I'm looking to get another variation of the rookie card or their first auto. For me, though, when it comes to Mark McGwire, I'm happy with just this card you've got pictured on the right. I would love the Tiffany version of the card, of course. Only 35 gem mint copies of an iconic card. That's very cool. But there are so many players on my target list who are A, actual Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, and B, not PED tainted, that dropping another almost 5K on a McGwire rookie card is just simply not a priority for me. I'm not even interested in adding any of his autos because really he doesn't fit the criteria of the type of player I would usually PC, and none of his autos are iconic cards. He doesn't hold a candle to my other steroid era heroes like Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, or even a guy like Manny Ramirez, whose antics I, for the most part, very much enjoyed. And of course is a multiple time World Series champion. But I can't ignore the positive impact his 1998 season had on resurrecting baseball from the dead, and for that reason alone, I love this card. But for me, this is a one-off. The iconic card of a flawed player or person who happens to be very historically relevant to the game I love. Mentioned folks on a smaller budget who maybe want to get an early Mark McGwire card for their PC. Well, the card on the left is a great option for you. That's his 1987 Topps card. Now, the one I've listed is his Tiffany version. I should point out, he did not have a 1986 Topps card. So, the 1987 one is important for a few reasons, and very popular because of it. Number one, it's his second Topps card, so it's a very early card for him, and it's his first in an Oakland uniform. It also has the set design that a lot of people love. 1987 is a very popular set. People love that wood grain finish. So it's a very popular and important card and has a very reasonable price point in gem mint form, whether you're hunting for the regular Topps card or the Topps Tiffany. The regular Topps card in PSA 10 form can be had for $35 to $40, and this Topps Tiffany version that's pictured on the left, that can be had for around $120. So these would be my suggestions if you're looking to get an early Mark McGwire card, but not looking to spend $300, $1,000, or of course $4,500 on his earliest 1985 rookie card. If you're wondering about rarity, the 1987 Topps Tiffany set, the print run was a lot higher than the 1985 print run. So there's like 30,000 sets made instead of 5,000 sets like in 85. But there's still only 476 PSA 10s of the Topps Tiffany version, the 1987 Topps Tiffany version. So really, the $120 price point seems pretty fair as an alternative to the pricey 1985 rookie card. All right, well that wraps up today's mail day on Mark McGwire. Please feel free to leave your thoughts and comments on Big Mac, including your collecting strategy for this very controversial Big Fellas cards. As always, thank you for watching and allowing me to help you build a PC for your Big Three.